Why is Japanese so freaking hard? It's so difficult. I've been trying to learn it the past few days, and it's one of the most difficult things like ever. I'm trying to like after like 2 hours of trying to read and study Japanese, my brain is pooped, dude. Trying to remember all the hiragana, all the katakana. Don't even get me started on the kanji. Are you kidding me? Kanji? Bro, that has to be the main reason why when you like Google, oh, the most difficult languages, Japanese is always at the top. Or it's either Chinese, Japanese, or like Arabic or something. And oops, man, this Japanese is making me press Serbia wrong. Because the grammar, I feel like you could learn soon enough now with the particles and so forth and so on. However, I tried to read Yotsuba or Yotsubato, which is commonly recommended as, you know, it's a very easy to read manga, but the language that they use in that manga is also like sort of casual and not really, you know, if you speak like they speak in Yotsuba in Japan, you would probably get some weird looks maybe. Anyway, trying to read that, it has plenty of kanjis, right? And that's the main issue. Now, let's back up a little bit. Japanese does not use spaces, which is like, you know, incredibly infuriating because I only know hiragana, right, and katakana, I guess. And when you're reading hiragana, you don't know what is a word and what's not a word because you don't have the vocabulary yet. So, for example, recently it was written ja arimasen. I said jarimasen. I'm like, what does jarimasen mean? No, it's two words. Ja arimasen. Now I know that, sure, but how would you know that, or how would you learn to say that without knowing that saying ja arimasen is a thing? Well, the solution is just know it. Just know it. And how Japanese speakers would know that it's two words is probably kanji, right? Like, it's very easy to know the separation of words when you read with kanji, but I don't know kanji, so it's a constant problem for me, right? So trying to read text is like incredibly difficult. Granada, Qatar. Yeah, so Japanese text. Oh man, does it break my balls. Speaking it, it feels like, you know, trying to learn any other language, right? It's not like speaking it is incredibly difficult. I'm willing to guess that Chinese with their intonations is considerably more complicated, and even like Arabic, right? But due to the fact of how the nature of kanji makes it very hard. And I'm almost at the point where I don't even want to learn kanji. I just want to learn to speak it, really, because when I try to think of how long it's gonna take to get like at a decent readable level, like how long it will take for me to flip open a Japanese like newspaper and start reading it is gonna take so much longer than me like trying to have a conversation with someone. That's just what I'm assuming. I'm not like some sort of language expert or anything. I'd even say I'm pretty bad at language. That's just the feeling I have right now. Yeah, I mean, and looking up kanji, you get like a bajillion definitions, right? You're like, oh, this is the Japanese way to say it. Here's 5 Japanese ways to say it. Here's 2 Chinese ways to say it. And there's no like definite rule of when what is used. The only real thing to use them correctly is just to know it. In Japanese, you essentially have to trip, fall on your face plant, get slapped across the face by a Japanese person, or at least like a Japanese speaker, and be like, no, it's like this. And then you'll remember that pain and learn the word. But there's not much logic. Like you can't really decipher it in a consistent way. Most, of course there's grammar rules. But there's a lot of exceptions. As I'm sure there is in plenty of languages. But this is the first time I really try and learn a language in, well, my life, essentially. If you don't count learning super basic German in high school. Which is just very similar to Swedish to begin with. Tanzania. I also, a common tip I get from like watching people who knows like 15,000 languages is that it's much more, or you should try and seek a way that you enjoy learning the language. It will be infinitely easier. It might not technically and objectively be the most efficient way to learn, but if that efficient way is something you dislike and you're not gonna do it, it's worse, right? It's better if you do something that you're gonna do. Right. An effort may be shitty is still better than no effort, right? So going through the Genki book, it's good. I enjoy the book. It's a good textbook, but it gets a bit heavy after a while. And what I've been doing now, what I've been enjoying doing just before I recorded this, was going through some songs and trying to translate them. And I mean, they use, fluent Japanese and very difficult kanjis and so forth and so on. But sitting, understanding the song, like I've heard plenty of Japanese songs, right? But you never really bother about what they're saying, right? And Liechtenstein. Ooh, ooh. It's there, next to Switzerland. The kid didn't get Ethiopia. United States. North Korea. Vanuatu. Can I try and place it here? This is Nauru. This is Paulu. It's one of these 3, right? Tuvalu, Vanuatu. Comoros is an island. Equatorial Guinea, Greece, North Macedonia. Myanmar, Uganda is smaller than you think. Haiti. Also, this song is a bunch of Ru verbs. Mamoru. I don't know what Mamoru means. Hashiru. I don't know. I definitely heard it before. Nomoru. Is that to drink? Or sleep? Taberu. Eat. Yeah, drink and eat. Oh. Really? Yeah, so what makes Japanese hard? Kanji. I believe it all boils down to kanji. It's really what makes it really hard. I mean, yes, of course, coming from being an English speaker, the sentence structure is all meshed up. It's all jumbled. It's like reverse, pretty much. But I feel like that's not nearly as close as bad as trying to learn the writing system. Because I mean, reading in hiragana and katakana is like energy consuming enough. You're like, this is a whole other alphabet, right? And that's not even scratching the surface of reading Japanese. God! Nauru, it's here. Nauru. Maybe that's a verb in Japanese. Because the Korean language essentially went like, yo, fuck this dumb ass Japanese language. We're gonna make it good. We're gonna make Japanese good. Or at the very least, easier to fucking understand. And now, Korean, at least writing and reading wise, is considered one of the easier languages, which is just insanity, right? But speaking wise, I believe it's at the same level as Japanese. Oops, god damn it. But the writing wise, like their alphabet is incredibly well made, because it's a relatively modern view on language making and not like a mishmash of whatever colonizer, right? But too bad South Korea doesn't make sick animes that I want to watch. That's the whole reason of why I'm learning Japanese. Yeah, let's just wrap this up, man. I've gotten out my rage of Japanese already. This was Tuvalu. Barbados is there. Brunei. Man, I'm actually surprised I remember most of these now. Which ones did I get wrong? I somehow got Sierra Leone wrong. And freaking clicked Serbia wrong. Which I'm not sure how that happened. Botswana, Diamonds, Bhutan, Togo, Sudan, Malaysia, Piripinu. Wow. Okay, that is something I get consistently wrong though. But it will be interesting. In half a year, will I have given up Japanese or will I be a decent speaker? Who knows, right? Let's just say that the extent to me right now is being Hajimemashite, namae wa Joshua-san. 25 歳です. Sweden Jin. Or Sweden... What was it? Sweden... Sweden kara. Like to say that you're from Sweden, or that you come from Sweden. I have to look that one up. But Sweden Jin, I am Swedish. It's like, oh, that's what I know. I can say, yo, McDonald's ga ikimasu. You know, shouldn't even call myself a Japanese speaker. It will be a while before I can do that. Anyway, fuck Japanese, but I love it. I love Japan.